Welcome to season 1 of Top Crop.
We found out that the ground is alive.
Trying to get done a little quicker and trying to simplify things a little bit.
You know, there's only so much money to go around. I look for big wins.
Well, welcome to Top Crop. Hey, I'm Dan Luepkes. You might know me from some other stuff we've done, but we got a whole new venture. Top Crop is a whole new show. It's all about, doesn't matter what your crop is. For me, it's corn and bean and wheat and hay and some other things sometimes, and how I can best profit and do the best jobs with those crops. For me, you know, ways that hopefully we can make more profit, cut costs, and do things that are renewable and that are good for the ground is, in particular, a field we're on right now with soybeans. Last year we put a rye and oat cover crop on it in the fall. The oats kill out over the winter, the rye survives, and then we kill that in the spring. It helps control erosion, and it also adds organic matter to the soil. I really like doing that. The soil is already alive when we're planting it. If you dig in there, it's already full of roots. See a lot of earthworms. So things like that for me make a difference. We can, you know, I'm just going out here no-tilling right into this, so I'm saving the tillage passes. There's a little cost with, you know, killing the rye, but you know, anymore also there's a lot of different programs that will pay you for cover crops. So I was pretty well paid for my seed and for planting, and maybe even a little towards burning it down. I think when I figured my total revenue that I received through a, you know, government type program. So if you look at those kind of programs, they can add to your bottom line and your profit. So little things like that is what we're always looking for. And I base it field by field, farm by farm, whatever I think will make the most money on that particular farm and that crop. So it's ever changing with me. I always say that it's my plan is to change my plan, because if that's farming, you know, weather, different factors, insects, weeds, Mother Nature, you know, all the above. It changes on you, so you got to be able to adapt. And I've always been, I think, halfway decent being able to adapt to a situation. So that's one of our, I don't know if you ought to call it a key to success, but it's a staple of the way I operate, I guess. Hi there, it's Dan Luepkes with Top Crop. We do something a little different than some neighbors in our area, and I know they do in some other parts of the country, but you don't see a lot of it right around here. We've got a Great Plains twin row we use primarily for beans. This is my second year with it, but really kind of liking what I've seen. I've noticed before when, it's just like with corn, when I start crowding the beans too close together, like in 30-inch rows, you know, there's too much inter-competition and your plants just don't thrive as well. So it's true in corn also, but in beans, like I said, what we found that looks like it's going to work really well is this is planted. These beans are just emerged. You can see there's a few still coming. This twin row system with a Great Plains planter. So what I really like to see and what I want to show is, you notice if you just look down through here, right, they're all singles, right? Single, 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 no doubles. So that is going to leave this plant room to grow, to get bigger, you know, to get that bigger stalk girth that you want with bean plants, allow them to branch a little bit more. You know, if these were all in one row, like in a 30-inch row, you'd have one there and one there and one there and one there. And it just doesn't give them quite as much room. So I really think this twin row is going to work out good for us. We also can maintain basically our 30-inch row configuration, you know, our sprayer and different things that we might want to bring down the rows will also work. So like the way this looks, static with the emergence. They're just through. Like I said, there's a couple coming, but just like with corn, it's great if you can get them all coming pretty much at the same time, which we do here. So really like the way this is looking, and we're gonna watch this throughout the year, and hopefully we can report and show you some of the other stuff we do with this, because top crop's all about making profit. It might not be the highest yield, still gonna be good yield, but it's about making money. And with just by, you know, moving our seeds farther apart, I think that's 5 to 7 bushel for us in the end, and that's real money. So we're gonna show you that and track it and see how it does for us during the year.
So right now we just loaded up Pivot Bio.
The Proven 40 product, which is very cool.
We're out looking at one of our Pivot Bio plots. I like the looks of it.
It's not leaching away in the groundwater. It's not running off when we get a hard, heavy rain.
Not bad, huh? Not bad. The Proven 40 is doing its job.
It's that missing link that keeps my plant where it needs to be.
Pivot Bio passed the test, I
So
feel
far,
like.
the Pivot Bio is checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
Next, probably will be a V10 Valtima application.
It's so much more than fungicide.
Goes above and beyond disease control.
Really like the BASF fungicides.
It's a stress mitigator. It's plant health. We have applied a toad on this farm, you know.
Done a great job for me.
Definitely money made.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
See how green this still is?
That's right. It's never too early to be talking about a program anymore.
I try to be out here as much as I can. You know, when we're busy still planting, it's, you know, if you're getting out there at least every 2 weeks, I think that's a good rule of thumb. And then getting out there at those critical stages, you know, checking before pollination. So we're off to a pretty good start here. You can see that radical roots just kind of exploded, and we're getting there. Planted a little bit later than that first stuff we looked at. I think it'll get there. It's just looking a little bit uneven right now. I see a few plants that we lost, but there's worm.
Oh, nice.
Worms are good.
Worms are great.
Worms mean a healthy soil. He's a little worm. Just enough.
That's good, Sam.
It was good. So we got a little hard on top, and before we got this last rain, which he's trying. He might have eventually pushed through since it's a little softer now, but I really can't count on him being a high yielder at this point. He didn't get the best start, so. So we are first generation. We started in 1987. That would be my parents. I'm actually a 5th generation farmer, but this is the first generation being on this operation. So my parents, started the operation. We used to have cows, had cows until 2008. So, you know, my life early on was feeding calves and using the bobcat and scraping manure. But we transitioned out of the dairy and we went to solely corn and bean operation 2008, and have been able to partner with landowners and grow the operation. I had my first agronomy experience actually before my senior year of high school. I interned for 2 private crop consultants in our area and still do business with them today. They do all my soil sampling, but that was my agronomy bug experience, and that's when I knew this is what I wanted to do. So after I graduated high school, I went on to get a bachelor's in agronomy and then straight into a master's in crop sciences. I got out of school and I worked for a little bit, but you know, I knew I could just bring a lot of value and a lot of sweat labor to the farm. So wasn't in the industry too long before I came back, and it's been a good decision. It's fun to work alongside my family, my husband, and the other employees. Yep. She is a cross between a fox and a toy terrier. Got fox looking ears. We have some soybeans here. They were planted on April 13th. We did a light tillage pass with an accelerator and got these planted at 140,000, and really happy. We had some cold temperatures again, but emergence looks good and nice green color to them. So we'll be coming back in a couple of weeks once they get to that about B2 growth stage with a foliar pass. But until then, we're just gonna let them hang out and get some more sunlight. Let's dig. It's cold down there.
You're in the water.
Still using the cotyledons for that primary food source, but we get them a little bit bigger and those cotyledons will fall off, and we'll just be using our leaves to capture sunlight. We set another couple trifoliates. We'll have enough area there. Drop some.
So right now we just loaded up Pivot Bio.
The Proven 40 product, which is very cool.
We're out looking at one of our Pivot Bio plots. I like the looks of it.
It's not leaching away in the groundwater. It's not running off when we get a hard, heavy rain.
Not bad, huh? Not bad. They're proven 40 is doing its job.
It's that missing link that keeps my plant where it needs to be.
Pivot Bio passed the test. I
So
feel
far,
like.
the Pivot Bio is checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
Top crop. Well, for me, it's corn. As we discussed, I grow quite a few different things, but for me, it's corn. A lot of guys just like corn. Corn's kind of fun to grow. It's kind of fun to get big yields. It's kind of fun to combine when you're getting a lot of it. I don't know. A lot of farmers just like corn. So, but one of the very most important things is even emergence. A lot of that there's several different components, Wait until the planting window is right, when you have the proper temperatures, soil conditions, good genetics, possibly some starters or something if you use that. All play into getting a crop off to a good start. And one of the things they always talk about is corn coming up at the same time or within a 12 to 24 hour period. So this corn is just starting to emerge. And I just want to kind of show you that we are pretty even here. You can barely see this stuff, but there's one just breaking, and then this is our next seed just breaking, and there's our next one right here just breaking. Our next one's right there just breaking, right there, right there. So they are basically in unison. They're coming up at basically the exact same time. That's a good start to a good crop. They don't get ahead of each other. Everything can grow at the same pace. So one of the keys to doing that is just having your planter right, having the right planting window, and a few other factors, to make it all come together. And as a farmer, when you drive by, especially after, a rain in the morning, and you drive by and you look down your rows and you got a nice set of green rows in that black soil, as a farmer, that just really makes you smile. At least it does me. So we're pretty much at that stage. Another day you'll be able to row this. She's just popping through now. So looks good. Excited about this year's prospects, and we'll watch it through the year and kind of show you how we manipulate the crop and what we do to get the best bang for our buck, I guess you would say, and try to get the most profit. That's why they call it top crop. Top crop, wheat. I'm not a wheat farmer, but I'm trying to be. It's been a while since I've grown it, but two reasons I have wheat this year. One, we've got a farm where we had quite a bit of white mold in. I wanted to bring something in as a different rotation. And then there's another poor farm that I rented that we put wheat on just because wheat seems like it can stand those kind of soils a little better. So I'm trying a couple different management techniques between these two different farms, and we're going to kind of see which one wins. It's just different nitrogen management, different timings, using different products. So like I said, I've got a lot to learn with wheat. I'm asking questions to people and trying to stay on top of it along with our other crop. But looking forward to trying to get this off early and getting a double crop in of beans, which is really hard where we're at because we're, you know, close to the Wisconsin border. We're in northern Illinois. We're only about 40 miles from the northern Illinois border. As you can see, I mean, this stuff is getting close to knee high already. I had some that was a little shorter. It's been 10 days ago or so, 2 weeks ago. I actually planted some beans into standing wheat like this, which nobody does. I'm experimenting. So I'm hoping the beans should emerge, but then they should kind of stand still or, you know, not grow a lot because the wheat's going to choke them out. But if they're emerged, my idea is that once we take the wheat off, as long as they haven't got too big and tried to get up into the wheat crop, which I don't think they will because I think they're going to get crowded out, that they'll already be planted and then they'll flourish after the wheat comes off. Totally experiment. I did like 15 acres or so of that. And then we're going to try some other stuff just conventionally planting into this after we harvest. We're going to try to harvest as quick as we can. This is a little earlier variety of wheat, and you know, we'll probably do it a little bit on the wetter side, maybe dry the wheat to give us an extra week. But that's all, we'll see how that's going to go. It's all an experiment. So top crop wheat, I don't know if it's going to be my top crop, but we'll give it a shot.
Next probably will be a V10 Valtima application.
It's so much more than fungicide.
Goes above and beyond disease control.
Really like the BASF fungicides.
It's a stress mitigator. It's plant health. We have applied a toad on this farm, you know.
Done a great job for me.
Definitely money made.
Yeah, absolutely. You see how green this still is?
That's right. It's never too early to be talking about a program anymore.
So right now we just loaded up Pivot Bio.
The Proven 40 product, which is very cool.
We're out looking at one of our Pivot Bio plots. I like the looks of it.
It's not leaching away in the groundwater. It's not running off when we get a hard, heavy rain.
Not bad, huh? Not bad. They're proven 40 is doing its job.
It's that missing link that keeps my plant where it needs to be.
Pivot Bio passed the test, I
So
feel
far,
like.
the Pivot Bio is checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
So here's one that we had some trouble with emergence. So glad we upped the population by 10,000 just because we were planting into some cooler soils, because I think we lost a few. Obviously they still look pretty good and we haven't lost too many, but we're in heavy clays. Beans don't get really, really tall. And I'm concerned with the heights of them and how water hemp pressure is. So I think we will eventually go back to 15s, plant a little bit heavier, and try to get some canopy sooner. If we can get some canopy sooner, then we can also cool these soils down, make the nodules happy, which will be to our benefit. So verdict's out, but that's what we're thinking. Need more data. Do need data. Yeah, everything's got, you know, mapping capabilities. Everything's capturing something when it goes across the field, so the winter job is always to try to collect it and try to, you know, get some new ideas, what's working, what's not. But, you know, also you got to rely on other people's expertise and experiences too, looking through some of their data that you trust and making good decisions for the next growing season. Goals here, I'm hoping for at least 60. I think with, you know, the planting date being in our benefit, being early, I think we could see over 60. We're gonna make quite a few foliar passes, potentially experiment with some PGRs. Since these look so good, I think we can push them and hopefully get some pretty good yielding beans at the end of the year, as long as Mother Nature cooperates.
Yeah, when's that ever happen?
Calling for a drought.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. I've seen 2 predictions for like nothing.
No, that's west.
Probably underground for a month. Somebody stepped on one. We'll blame it on the dog. Today is May 30th and we're looking at some April planted corn. We've had some pretty hot weather conditions, so it's really changing quick. With me today is Tate Cockrell with Pivot Bio. He's our Pivot Bio rep. He's been taking good care of us this season, and we're gonna dig some roots and just see how this crop's doing.
I mean, look how much moisture's still underneath that ground.
Yeah.
That's what you want. We're out here worried and, you know, yeah, we can see the ground cracked open in spots, but
that's something we're gonna fine tune and even take a marker to each row where it was adjusted.
Yep.
So we can just individually. See, I'm always negative. I'm like, I see issues, you know, it's hard to be like.
That's what we're doing today is, hey, we're trying to be critical of a really good stand of corn.
Yeah.
And how do you get better?
That's a good
You
way to
get
look
one
at it.
shot to do this.
Yep.
And then you've got to wait 12 months to your next go around. You know, whether you got a notepad or whether you're having a meeting with your team of folks that work on the farm, you can preach to everybody standing in the shop how critical planting depth is. But I'm one of those people that if you show me, it sinks in.
Yeah.
And it could be neat too. You could flag some of these plants, and if they were good, you know, good enough marked, you could come back and count rows around, kernels in a row.
Should do that.
And then go, okay, you know, by hand, this attributes to 4 to 6 bushel. But you also look where we're at too. We're in a darker, heavier spot. It's a touch heavy. To do ourselves justice, we probably ought to walk out there on a lighter soil type. You're never going to have that planter set perfect for 100% of the field. You're going to have these spots.
Getting a little crustier.
Yep. I just wanted to look for a second.
It's really variability in every field we farm. You know, we've got some nice lower, little bit blacker, little bit higher organic matter stuff, but then you can see quickly we're going right up on lighter clay, get a little bit harder. So tillage to us is a fine art because you can either do too much or you can do not enough and have some clods kind of like we see in here. So need good tillage operators for sure that can really get the field fit so they can come in here and plant it and we can get the best stand we can. I can't complain too much about this. We were probably pushing the envelope a little bit in regards to field condition. This is one of the first fields that we would have planted. So overall it's, you know, emerged well, and we're missing a few plants here and there, but most of these stand counts are coming back to be pretty spot on.
I hope everybody's excited for the season this year. It's getting time where we're wrapping up planting. But if anybody's got any questions for the show, feel free to leave us a comment. We'll try to get to everybody we can.